Welcome back, everybody, to the Classic Firearms Podcast. I am Clint. We've got Katie back with us.
How's it going, guys?
And we've got two very special guests with us today that I am happy to introduce. We've got our buddy Adam from Century Arms.
How's it going, guys?
Dude, we are so happy to have you here. And we've got, I hope you're okay with me saying this, but I want to consider you a legend in this community. All right, we've got Larry Vickers with us, and I'm thrilled to have you here, man.
I appreciate it. I love coming over and seeing you guys. Remember seeing you in the old facility?
Oh, yeah. It's, the new warehouse is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. This whole table that we're sitting at right now would not fit in the old video room.
No.
but no, we're happy to be here, and let's go ahead and hop into this really quick.
I just want to say that even though I didn't know anything when I started out, I knew who he was.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. When I started out, I knew no one.
Yeah. Well, Larry, you've been in this area. I mean, you've lived here for quite some time now.
Yeah,
right?
6 years.
Yeah.
6 years. Got over in the Charlotte area around 2016, and prior to that, I was in Fayetteville because I retired out of the Army in Fayetteville.
Vietnam.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you've known Ben for quite some time too, right? Yeah, right. Because last time, like the first time I met you, you came over to the old warehouse to grab a couple of barrels for some BM59s.
BM59s, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever do anything with those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got built out. One was for a buddy.
Yeah.
And then one was for me, and they got built out. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Well, that's awesome. So we've got you. You know what, Larry? Let's just go ahead and let's talk about you a little bit, because some of our viewers, they might not, or listeners, they might not know or anything else like that. You mind giving us a little bit of background? Introduce yourself some?
Been in the gun industry for a long time now. Retired out of special operations in 2003. I was in Delta Force for 15 years.
Yeah.
Kind of started in this industry working on 1911s.
Yeah.
Good friends with a lot of the people still in the 1911 industry. Bill Wilson, my buddy Ken Hackathorn.
Yeah.
Guys that were, household names in the firearms industry in the 1911 side of the house. And then I expanded from there and started doing training, a lot of pistol training, and then kind of doing carbine, AK stuff, some home defense, style training and CQB and whatnot. Yeah. Really specializing on self-defense pistol and then carbine would be really where it's at. And then we launched a number of years ago, a series of coffee table books. Mm-hmm. A guy contacted me out of the blue who ended up being my co-author and does the photos. Yeah. And then just been busy. Now, lately, dealt with cancer last year.
And how's that going?
That's going good. I'm in remission. The sad story is it really ravaged my former unit, because in Delta we were exposed to a lot of caustic chemicals over the years. Mm-hmm. Everything from flashbangs and door charges on down. Right. The line. And, man, there's a lot of guys in the unit I know that have died from cancer or sick from cancer.
Here's to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So that's kind of one of those things that's going on behind the scenes. And, I mean, since I got it, 2 or 3 guys have passed away.
Oh, man.
And so it's, But fortunately for me, it's in remission. Things are going well. And then I've traveled so much for so long along the lines of this guy right here.
Adam
wife,
gets around.
Yeah, when the cancer kind of died down, the wife kind of talked to me and had to come to Jesus with me about our family, about, hey, you got to take a step back from traveling. Yeah. You got to focus on family. So I've been doing that. That being said, I'm dying to get back out in the industry. Yeah. I mean, I just love talking guns. I love gun people. I'm hoping, crossing fingers, I'll be at SHOT Show this year.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping to.
Yeah.
So, but that's it in a nutshell. I'm here looking forward to talk guns with you guys, man.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we know that you had some development work on like the HK 416 and 45, which is really cool. And I know a lot of our viewers love those two platforms, we've got a couple of HK types in front of us as well here, and we can get Adam actually to talk a little bit about that. And Adam, actually introduce yourself some, man. I know if we've got listeners that have been watching the channel for any length of time, they've definitely seen you.
Right, yes. So been in the industry a little over 10 years now. Yeah. Started actually as the CMO of Palmetto State Armory. Yeah. Was fortunate enough to be a part of the growth there. That really is the monster it is today, and still have some amazing lifelong friends that work there, that the ownership, and just wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for them. Right. Then transferred over actually to what Larry was saying. I actually took about 1.5 years off from the industry, and I missed it. I as much as we gripe and complain about what we have to deal with in this industry, both from people that are customers, people that are in the industry, there's nothing like it. The sense of community, the sense of brotherhood, the sense of belonging and doing something that you're actually passionate about makes it a lot easier to get up every day and go to work.
Agreed.
And there's nothing like it in the world. So I came back. I started with Century Arms in Canic. I've been there about 3.5 years now, and it's been something that has been truly a blessing. Century is continuously pushing the edge in terms of the imports and what we're developing, things like the AP5 that we'll talk about in a minute. And then Canic has just been a monster.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of growth just in the 3.5 years that we've been there, we've seen it go, 10x, which is just absolutely unbelievable to be a part of something that truly people are passionate about. And I get to do things like this. I mean, my job doesn't suck.
Right.
When we're sitting here, like you said, with good people like you and icons in the industry like Larry, that's also a personal friend. And then later today, we're going to go put lead down range.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
It's not a bad day. I could be sitting in a cubicle selling insurance. So so that's my story.
Yeah, I got you, man. Well, of course, everybody should already know Katie. We did a little bit of an intro last time, but yeah. So no, I mean, dude, absolute pleasure having you both here. But now let's go ahead and talk about some of the stuff we've got here in front of us, because we've got your AP5P,
right? And
I've got the AP5, the full length over here, my personal one that I absolutely love. And Larry, what has your experience been with the AP5 so far? Because as of right now, I've seen on your Instagram and stuff that you're thinking pretty highly of it.
Very highly of it. A big fan. I mean, I've got a ton of time behind the MP5. When I went through OTC and Delta, that was our primary we trained on, was the MP5 for CQB.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we're talking late 80s. And then when we got to Squadron, then we basically went to the Car 15. Colt Car 15, my Colt Model 723, which was a fantastic platform. Big fan of it. But we still always used MP5s. I got to believe they still have them. I mean, it's the iconic submachine gun. I was talking to a friend of mine not long ago. To this day, if I had to pick a submachine gun to use, it would be the MP5.
And why is that? We were actually talking about that yesterday. Why is it such, not only iconic, but why is it so useful?
Just good.
It's it's a scaled down G3, right? But there's something about the combination of the caliber, the size, the weight, the controllability that it brings together in 9mm that honestly it doesn't necessarily bring together so much in other calibers. I mean, not that the other guns are bad by any means, but that it's kind of like everything lined up. The good example I like to use is kind of like the Glock 19. I mean, it's just one of those things where everything kind of lined up, the size of it and everything. And in that mid-size, not necessarily compact, but mid-size duty pistol, if you will, that you can use as a duty pistol or you can carry it concealed, it's still the benchmark. Same thing with the MP5. I mean, it's a gun that incredibly controllable to shoot. You can take, like my buddy Ken Hackathorn has said, you can take a brand new shooter, somebody who's never shot a firearm before, and in an afternoon, you can have them at least at a bare minimum competency with an MP5. They're just so incredibly easy to shoot. For what they are, they're lightweight, easy to handle. They're reliable guns. I mean, it's like the stars all aligned when this gun was made. Because I've thought the same thing before: is why is this gun so special compared to, let's say, the G3, which is a great gun, or the 5.56 HK roller lock guns or whatnot. And it's just like a combination of things all came together. The stars all aligned with the MP5 and the 9mm in this platform.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right too about like new shooters getting a hold of this, because it is. I mean, it's one of the softest recoiling guns I've ever shot. Right? I mean, Katie, we did a video where we compared like the Sig Rattler 300 Blackout. Because 300 Blackout, sure, it's a superior cartridge, but what really are the pros and cons that you're getting over that? You know what I mean? And but you preferred still the MP5, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and that roller delayed design. I mean, so yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. Now, if it's cool, let's caveat to something kind of funny, because you talked about the G3 and the 5.56 and things like that. I saw something on your Instagram not too long ago.
Just rub salt in the wound. I already know where this is going. Yeah.
Look. If we can't talk about it, it's fine. But
it's already on the internet now, and it lives in infamy. So thanks, Larry.
So thanks. Funny. So tell us, what is this? What was it?
So as Larry so eloquently did the reveal, I guess he's the head of marketing at Century now. We are coming out with a collaboration with MKE out of Turkey of a 5.56 and a 308 version of these guns. And we make sure that we have a lot of industry experts test these guns in advance, go through everything that may be pitfalls, things we need to advance, things we need to keep an eye on in terms of quality control.
Yep.
And a couple of these guns were in hands of an individual that is very, very highly regarded. And he, then being, that the industry is a family, took him to Larry to get his opinion. And Larry decided, because, a lot of 90-year-old men want to put things on their Instagram out the gate. And this 90-year-old man over here decided that he wanted to be the first. And boy, was he, about 6 months early, and putting these on the internet. And so all of a sudden I started getting phone calls. And let's just say the text message I sent to him wasn't exactly the most pleasant. And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to take it down?" And I was like, "It's been up for 2 days. What are we going to do now?"
Yeah, that's right.
But so we are going to be coming out with that. We're still working to make sure that we're completely compliant, that everything is going to be top notch, that the quality is going to be there. They have been there on these guns, and I think, and I think that's one of the things I want Larry to speak of what he's seen with it. And that was kind of, from what I understand, Larry, why you posted it, because you were impressed by it.
Absolutely, super impressed by the quality.
Yeah, so and you can kind of take it from there, what you've seen in the AP5 and the 9mm, as well as what you'll see in the AP6.
That's what we're calling it, AP6.
And that'll be one of them. And then there will also be a 7.62 by 51 version.
So can we just assume the AP7, because that kind of makes sense?
Maybe. So
maybe.
So yeah.
Hey, right off the bat, Adam, we got to let everybody know these guns are made at an HK licensed facility on HK provided tooling. People need to know that.
Yeah. And that's what he said. It's the same metallurgy, the same technical data package. And not only that, it's licensed and held accountable by, like you said, the HK facilities.
Yep.
And that's the thing. So, when we put it in people's hands like Larry and stuff, we can feel confident that not only is there interchangeable in terms of the parts, but also the quality and control that you're going to go to expect from, the original is going to be reflected here. And we're fortunate enough to be able to do it in the volume, and with the current deal we have, that it's a very approachable price point, which is, I think, something huge. Everybody's wanted one of these guns since they were a kid, or since they, used them in the military with a government price tag that was a little bit more. You didn't have to concern yourself with, doing it on a government salary.
Time,
Right.
But now they're attainable. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you told me that you've got 15,000 rounds to one?
I do. So I got one of the original ones, in the first ones in the country, and it was a demo. We actually launched it at the event in Savannah, Georgia, the Big Daddy Unlimited event. I guess a year and a half ago when it was. And, with this gun, I was nervous. Everybody, there's a break-in period on these guns, especially, about, we say 250 rounds. Some of them never have an issue. Some you got to work all 250 rounds.
And typically it's like a little bit heavier grain too,
right.
right?
And I was using steel case, threw steel case in it. And the first mag we had to hang up, put in a second mag, had to hang up, dropped it out, threw some oil in it, cleaned it up, threw it back in, and it's run like a Scalded Dog, original extractor, original firing pin. And I've never even done a full cleanup. I want to run this gun to see what it'll actually do. I want to break it. And it's basic safety cleaning, but nothing, never completely disassembled it and cleaned it. And it's 15,000 rounds still running.
It's a good example of a gun like an AR in the respect as long as you keep it lubed, generally they'll run like a champ. Now, if you suppress them, you get a lot more gas back in the action, and that's a little bit different story. You suppress them, you got to be more on top of the lube, and your cleaning regimen is going to be more pronounced. But a standard one that's not suppressed, you can run them filthy and just keep them lubed, and they'll run like a champ, because I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Clint?
Yeah,
you said you're actually going to have to clean it if you use a suppressor.
Well, this one has been pretty much stayed suppressed. I've got about 2,000 or 3,000 rounds to it, and I think I've dropped like a couple of drops of ballistol in it twice, and it's been working all right. So we'll keep it going,
Now, do you guys sell ballistol?
I don't know if we sell ballistol or not, but we might have a bottle around or two if you need it.
No, I love ballistol.
Yeah,
I've always loved it. My buddy Ken Hackathorn turned me on to it. Yeah. It's like Kitty Hawk or somewhere. Ballistol is distributed here in North Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm
pretty sure. Look on the bottle.
Yeah.
I think, or look on the spray can and see what see where the address is. I think it's like Kitty Hawk or somewhere here in North Carolina, where it's actually, obviously it's made in Germany, needless to say. but I think it's distributed here in North Carolina.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right,
Yeah,
well,
I'm a
sweet,
big
but-
fan of Ballistol.
Yeah, no, for all of our guys out there too, because that's another question, I guess. I mean, on the channel, we get asked questions all the time. What ear pro? What eye pro? And then, some people say, well, actually, what cleaning and lubrication do you use? And I'm like, I just do Ballistol, and I use Ballistol literally for everything. If I want to darken some leather, I spray some Ballistol on it.
I know. It's
There you
great
go.
stuff.
Yeah, it works for everything. But anyway, yeah, so that's what we use. Spray some Ballistol on your stuff; it'll run great. But anyway, so the 5.56 7.62 gun, it's going to be like the G3 91, I guess, and then what is the HK53? That was that the 5.56 gun?
HK 33.
33.
33 and a 33K were the two that I saw.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the 33K is that's the hotness.
Yeah.
That's
The hotness.
The hotness. People are going to be.
That's the marketing campaign.
That's
Yeah,
it.
right
The
there.
hotness.
The
Yeah.
hotness.
It is. That's the one that everybody's going to be salivating over.
And and I think the biggest thing for us, like we were talking about, is making it at a price people can afford.
Right, and so let's talk about that really quick, because on the base AP5, right? I mean, you get like the standard in like a polymer forend, no brace, iron sights. Does it come with the flash hider out of the
It
box?
does come. Yes, it does come with the flash hider.
Okay, so you get the tri-lug flash hider, which is a super cool thing. It's just a neat look. I love the aesthetic of that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Thread cover,
Yep.
tri-lug adapter. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, my 5x28 thread protector, I've already lost that.
Yeah.
So usually I just use my flash hider as my thread protector if I don't have the silencer on.
Sure.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and just leave it at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So that keeps the price point down, obviously, as a base gun. But on top of that, now you guys are offering different rail and optics and
we have
brace options.
Brace options.
Yeah.
We're teaming a lot with SB Tactical. We had a couple different brace options to include side folding.
Yep.
We've done some optics setups with companies like Ride On that are good optics. They just obviously a price point optic, all the way up to Shield with a dedicated mount for the shield that clips directly to the top of the gun, and then it'll still allows for a co-witness, 100% co-witness, which is really unique. It was really unique on
Yes.
it. Larry, even you were like, okay, what is this?
Oh, yeah.
I
I didn't know it was a shield. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was something we kind of stumbled across it, and we're like, man, this is cool.
Yeah.
But it's not cheap. I mean, it's not. I mean, something that's as unique as that, and quite frankly, it's very, very durable.
Yeah.
It's tough. Is going to have some price associated with it. We're not trying to get rich off of that, but there is a cost. So we wanted to have the different options, but the reality is you can have now a braced pistol, a optic ready gun with the optic on it, additional mags, some cool furniture, and still get it significantly under the price of what you would pay for the original just as a base model.
Right.
Which is something that's cool. And so, yeah, and that's what's really been cool to come here and talk about with you guys is that Classic is now committed to having a number of these SKUs online, which we think is the most important thing. When we first launched this, we weren't sure because it is, regardless of if it's a $5,000 gun or a $1,000 gun, $1,000 is still a lot of money to a lot of people. It's a lot of money to anybody.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then you need to reevaluate what your view of money is.
Especially in this day and age.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And so we knew that this was still going to be when somebody wants to buy this, it's still a decision they have to have in their head or with their wife or
with their husband.
Yeah. And so we wanted to do something that the value was there that you couldn't argue that it was a good buy.
Yeah, and Katie, just going to your point, I don't think Hunter's going to complain if you came home with an AP5. I'm just saying.
He's going to hug you.
I've met him, and he's just going to be like, all right, well, I'm going to take this to work now.
He's going to be like, this is mine, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is mine.
No, so all right, so you guys offer all sorts of different variations on the different models. So I've got the full size, your standard here that I've obviously taken. I've thrown all the B&T accessories on it. I love the B&T tri-rail. Yeah. It's super sleek and slim. B&T Picatinny mount, like the claw mount, and I've got a Trijicon RMR on mine, and Surefire with a pressure pad and the SB Tactical brace. But you also offer the P, which is the threaded K, quote unquote.
Right.
And then you also offer the M, which doesn't have the threaded barrel. And that's the only difference between the P and the M.
Right. It's the only difference. The same size, same setup, same rig. It's just literally a non-threaded barrel, which, as we discussed, we're now figuring out. So we'll start with the compliant answer.
Sure.
And the compliant answer is there's a lot of states that don't allow, or a lot of states and areas that do not allow you to have a threaded barrel.
Right.
So, we still want to be able to spread freedom as much as possible in those areas, and that's a way that you can still attain this platform and still meet,
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, meet with local regulations.
So
the AP5M meets those regulations.
right.
M for midsize.
So mini.
Yeah,
mini.
it's a
Got
mini.
it, okay.
So AP5.
Oh, I got it, yeah.
So it's apparatus pistol,
Yeah.
machine pistol.
Right.
And then the AP5P for pistol, and then
Yeah.
AP5M for mini.
Got it.
And then the more fun answer,
Yes.
which Larry, I want your opinion on this,
Yes.
is the briefcase gun.
Right.
The briefcase gun had to be the non-threaded version.
Yep.
And I mean, I just
Dude, like anytime I think like James Bond, espionage, right? I think HK or I think Walther PPK, obviously, and then I'm like, everybody needs a briefcase gun.
Everybody needs a
I mean,
briefcase gun.
absolutely. So if you guys haven't seen the videos out there of the HK MP5K without the threaded barrel, they have this mechanism inside of a briefcase, and it allows you to activate a trigger through the handle of the briefcase and dump that mag. And it's like, all right, send it. So, but Larry, you actually have personal experience with this.
Yeah, I've shot it.
Yeah.
I've shot it before.
What? And tell us about it.
The adapter inside is well made. I'm sure HK makes that, with
Yeah.
the adapter that actually takes the MP5K and adapts it in, and they have a brass deflector. And if memory serves me correct, they got a spare mag holder inside it.
Oh, that's cool.
And that
Yeah.
15-round mag is kind of set up for that, for that briefcase gun or setup. The problem is, if you guys or anybody looks at doing one, they've got to increase the overall quality of the briefcase itself, because obviously HK buys that thing off the shelf and modifies it, and it's poorly made.
So wait, what you're saying is like HK went to like Walmart and bought a briefcase and then put their mechanism in there to make this thing shoot.
Yep.
They went to Marshalls. They got those 500 of them they could get at a discount. Yeah, they're
Right.
like, we'll take all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Right.
exactly right. I mean, the latches are very poorly made.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, and I saw it with the one I shot. Is we shot it quite a bit,
Yeah.
and actually shooting it a lot really started tearing the case up.
I believe it.
Yeah.
The brass deflection, the gases.
How hard was it to hit anything? Like,
It's one of those things you got to tuck it into the body.
Right.
You're point shooting.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me to him, no
It's
problem.
a get off me gun at that
Yeah,
point.
that's
Yeah.
it. It's a get off me gun. The problem is now with it too is it would stand out. I mean, if you knew what you're looking for right off the bat, the handle's real big, and it's got a trigger. That would kind of get by. But now, no, show me anybody that's using a briefcase.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
problem. Mm-hmm.
Now it's a satchel.
Yeah.
Or, and you know what I mean? So it's almost like redirecting it to a satchel gun would be a better way to go.
I got a ADD for a second. Have y'all seen the King's Guard, the new guy that's like is trending all over the internet? He's the new top security for King Charles.
Okay.
And he's got this huge beard, and he looks like he looks exactly who would be the head of the bodyguards for the king. I mean, out of any movie.
Yeah.
And he carries an umbrella all the time.
Oh.
And there's
You
no
already
rain
know.
projected.
Yeah.
And there's this whole thing. Is it an umbrella gun?
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by it. Like I've been looking at it. I've been trying to figure out if there's a trigger or what. But I mean, it's this long umbrella, and he's walking with it.
Dude, I bet you know what movie was it where you pop that thing open and you can shoot at it? You know,
Yeah,
I bet it's probably like a
it's,
certain level of bulletproof
Yeah,
or
what was the
something.
name of that movie?
I don't even remember. But
Oh, I can't remember now. But I
But if
remember
anybody
it,
can
yeah.
find out, if
about,
any of
yeah.
your listeners can confirm or deny that this is an umbrella gun,
Yeah.
I will be forever indebted to them because it is the most fascinating
all right,
thing.
you know what? Hey, we'll put a bet on it. Your bet is umbrella gun. My bet is an umbrella shield.
Ooh.
Kingsman.
Kingsman,
That's
that's
what
it.
it was.
Kingsman,
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan, in the
right.
back.
It could just like
Kingsman.
be like a knife at the end of it, though.
It also could be an
that's
umbrella.
cool.
Could be an umbrella.
He
I
could
don't
just
know.
be
Yeah.
hitting people with umbrellas.
Yeah, it could just be an umbrella.
Like how well made is the handle? Because he could just turn around and beat people with it.
That's true.
I actually haven't gotten to talk to him about it. But,
You're just-
I'm just saying, like, have you seen like zoomed in and like look at the pictures?
Because
Because I know if I saw it, I would be like, just take it to the best guy I know, Ryan. Enhance this and tell me what it looks like.
So getting back to some of the guns too, Larry, on your channel, you first of all you recently passed 1 million subscribers.
Sure did.
So congratulations
Thank
to
you.
that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully you'll get your gold plaque before too
hope.
long. Yeah.
Congrats to you guys.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And you recently did a video on Cabot. And you had so our buddy Eli over there, when I did an interview with him, he told me I need to put some hair in my chest and, get a 1911 and all that stuff.
Was he wrong?
Unbeknownst to him, I have like 5. So whatever. I don't have a cabot. I could probably sell all 5 and almost,
on your chest,
get
right?
that. So anyway, but I mean, how'd you like shooting that cabot?
That was great.
Yeah.
Very impressed with the overall quality. I saw their stuff back in the day, and when they first started out, and they were nice guns, but there's still a learning curve. Anytime you start out with a 1911, whether you're a shooter, a gunsmith, or making them, there's a learning curve to that gun.
Right.
I mean, there really is. But no, I was very impressed with excellent fit and finish. The machining was excellent. I specifically wanted to get it in that format because I'm a big fan of the 9mm lightweight Commander flavored 1911.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
I
mean, 9mm now rules the world. I know people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth.
Right.
You get a Commander with the right mag, it's a 10-in-1 gun.
Yeah.
We're talking about 11-shot gun. If you get them set up right, they'll run hollow points like a champ. I mean, they're a hard gun to beat. If you want a thin, lightweight concealed carry pistol, or even a duty gun,
right,
you can run with a 9mm 1911. So I'm a big fan of them. So that's why I specifically requested that gun from the owner of Cabot.
Yeah, nice.
Now, I sent it back to them for them to be able to have it shot with the video on a loop.
Nice.
But this, I'm sure it wasn't this shot because we didn't have the video out in time. But now this next shot, if everything goes right, they'll be able to have the gun on display with the video on the loop behind it.
Nice.
We got some nice slow-mo and whatnot on it. But no, it was a great gun. Ran like a champ. Shot great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm going to have to call Eli so we can get
a couple
he can come out here and we can just shoot him.
Yeah, there we go. Well, actually, going back to shot, did you mention something about a briefcase that you guys could?
We may have a little James Bond action ourselves.
Little AP5M briefcase, guys.
Hypothetically.
Cool. All right, if that's something you can mass produce, I'll buy one. Anyway, that means I gotta buy an AP5M too. So here we are.
Or not mass produce it and just give us one. Give me one.
Just give.
I mean, I'll buy it.
I'll give your husband one instead. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Bro.
And then you got to buy the AP5M.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, if somebody's got an original HK briefcase, unless I'm missing something, you'd be able to put the AP5M.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the specs are the same on it. Yeah,
exactly the same.
So, and this too, because I mean, we're running off of the original technical data package. Like this gun is, obviously the SP5 and stuff. There's some moderations. I do have a question on this. So we were yesterday, Clint and I were looking at it, and we noticed, for instance, like the grip. On this one, it still has the finger grooves and the thumb swell and some things like that. Do you know why they went away from that on the newer models and stuff? Like we were looking at just a standard, the new SP5. It's
the forward takedown pins.
The forward takedown pins were different. The grip is just smooth. Yeah. Is that just for modularity so that they could mass produce them quicker? What was the reason?
If I had to guess, I would say it's a setup where they just wanted to make it more adaptable. There you go. Yeah. They wanted to make it more adaptable for a wider variety of users. And then they also extended the thumb safety too, the selector switch.
Yeah.
So what you guys have is kind of the original classic setup, which personally I think really looks cool.
I think it's awesome.
I do too. Well, I like just the cuts in the grip module anyway. I think it just looks good. I
agree.
Yeah, and the ergonomics behind the grip feels pretty good too.
I love that original look. The standard lower was an SCF lower.
Yes.
And they've changed it to 0-1, and then you can see where they blanked out where it would have been to 30.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then another thing I like about it is it only goes to, a lot of people would be running one of these or running a similar gun, and the selector would go past.
That creep past it, yeah. So I've noticed, I mean, you can force it. You can definitely force it past, but you got to make an effort. It's not like you're in the heat of something, you're going to run it and flip it too aggressively past.
By the way, before I forget about it, I want end users out there and listeners to think about, this is a great home defense gun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Great home defense gun. And you can take new shooters, you could take your son, your daughter, your wife, don't necessarily have a lot of time on a handgun or even a long gun or anything along these lines, and you can train them in very short order to be competent with this gun. Very lightweight, easy to use. Even the full size AP5 is a short, easy maneuver gun in a household environment. And you're talking about a gun with a 30 round mag. Very easy to shoot, especially with a red dot sight on it. They need to look at, it's just not a range toy or where they're playing like they got an MP5 in a video game. It's a gun they need to look at for a home defense gun.
Truck gun.
And I can speak too that this thing runs some Federal HST hollow points like there's no tomorrow too.
Which was something, one of our sales managers, Andrew, he's pretty proficient in this as well. That's what we were so impressed with the AP5. Obviously some of these roller delays, and you can speak on it more, are kind of finicky on ammo sometimes.
Absolutely.
And the fact that the steel case that I've run through it, the hollow points that we've run through it, speaks volumes in terms of the engineering behind this platform of the AP5. Frankly, it's eaten everything we've thrown at it.
I've seen it back in the day where it was their hollow point specific.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, back in the day. My guess is they've made changes along the line, feed ramp changes and whatnot, to adapt to different hollow points, especially now. You got to remember this gun was designed back in the day when full metal jacket was what everybody used.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Back in the, with HK designing this thing back in the day. It was full metal jacket, so the thought of running different hollow points and stuff really wasn't on the horizon at that time. But now, obviously, it is, especially if you're going to use it for a home defense weapon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what would be the mods if you want to set up your gun, like you've got one now? What would be the mods that you would set up? Give us 3 or 4 or 5 things, because we actually did a discussion on this yesterday. What are the things from when it comes as a base pistol, like you said, and that's how you wanted yours to come? What are you going to do to yours to make it as efficient as possible?
If you can Form 1 it and get it with the standard stock, you don't have to.
Right.
But I'm old school. I love that retractable butt stock and all that. Now, if you don't want to Form 1 it, then you go with one of the braces, which are perfectly acceptable and work like a champ.
Right.
So you want to do a brace. You definitely want to do a red dot sight on it, without a doubt, and a good sling.
Yes.
And I think that's what you go from there. Whether you want a white light on it or not, that's a good idea, especially if you're going to use it as a home defense weapon.
Yes, sir.
For something clearing, your home,
right,
in a basement, garage, having a white light on it. But I would say you want some kind of a brace on it to be able to use it legally, obviously, but at the same time, it enhances the shootability of the gun tremendously.
And those are pretty simple, pretty basic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now the type of stock that you said you want to you just want to go like the fixed A1, like is that what you're talking about, or do you want to go with something more collapsed?
I would probably go something along this line right here.
A collapsible or a foldable.
Yeah. Collapsible or foldable.
Yeah.
And then a brace along those lines.
Yeah, I do.
If you Form 1 it, now you can put on the standard HK style retractable stuff.
Right, yeah.
And there's a couple companies that make some pretty cool ones like that.
Yeah.
And there's braces that are, kind of fit that. Safety Harbor, SB Tactical, JMAC Customs.
I was going to say, which one was it that, Safety Harbor, is that the one that Andrew had on his?
Yes.
Yeah, because that one's cool too.
Yeah.
Now, this may be out of left field, but, I saw MKE makes.
They do.
A standard configuration retractable butt stock for like the MP5 and the HK.
They do. So, obviously MKE is a military facility. They make everything from tanks and missiles to small arms.
Yeah.
So they have what would be considered, I guess, the government LE versions of these that are completely ready. We can do that.
Are you thinking about bringing any of those in as accessories or no?
The accessory maybe. I would be open to it. The biggest thing is there the market for it, because we know, like you said, it's you got to jump through some hoops to get things done, and it's expensive.
And they're pricey too.
That's what I'm saying, and it's expensive.
Yeah,
Not only to get it, but then you also got to go through the hoops and pay the money to SBR things, and it's it's another world.
You might want to do a limited import on it. Maybe just buy X number of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the thing about this, is we started this solely focused on a 9mm, an MP5.
Yeah.
We wanted to bring in an affordable MP5, and that's what we've done, the AP5. And now we knew there was a market there. We knew we had to find the sweet spot in terms of price.
Sure.
And now that we've legitimized that there is a market there, now it's game on.
Yes.
It's game on.
Oh, absolutely. Well, again, this is a timeless design. It's been around for decades now. People absolutely love it. It's fun to shoot. It's again, softest recoiling gun I think I've ever shot. And a lot of other 9mm pistol caliber carbines, if that's what you want to call them, that are direct blowback, things like that. They run great. They're fun, but they do have some recoil behind them.
Yeah, they do. That's a fact.
Yeah.
They got some thump to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you would think, you're like, oh, I'm shooting a 9mm, like I shoot my Glock just fine. It's like, okay, your Glock also has a little bit of recoil to it, right? Yeah, it's not exactly the easiest thing, but at the same time, that roller delayed action of the MP5, I mean, man, it is just awesome. And which brings me, Larry, this is a question that I've actually wanted to ask you for a while, because you've got a lot of experience with a lot of different firearms. I've been following you for a long time. I've been seeing all the cool things you've shot. Hands down, your favorite gun.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
My favorite gun, pistol would have to be a 1911.
Just a 1911. Yeah, is there a specific 1911?
Is there a brand?
Yeah.
Well, Wilson Combat makes a Vickers Elite version.
Yeah.
They're hard to beat. Big fans, Colt, Springfield Armory. I got friends that work at both places.
That new Springfield Armory, what is it, the Prodigy? Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we've got both. We got the 4 1/4 and the 5-inch.
They do look good.
You do? Do you had them on
I work
hand?
for a competitor, and
I'll
I'm
have
still
to check one when we're done. I want to check one out.
Yeah, so we've shot both of them now. They're pretty slick. They feel good. They feel good. They feel really
even
good.
as a competing company, I'm like, they did a good job with that.
Yeah. So we'll shoot one at the range there. Yeah.
So Wilson's makes it, but not everybody can afford a Wilson.
Right.
I mean, it's a Porsche or a Mercedes level.
Same premises like the staccatos and things like that.
It's a quality. I mean, Wilson Combat though. I mean, they're fantastic.
Yeah, they are
fantastic.
They got great resale value too. That's one of the great things about Wilson, universally known brand. So their resale value is excellent.
Yeah.
Big fan of Colt. I got buddies that work at Colt. Big fan of Colt. Big fan of Springfield Armory. So my opinion would be kind of look in that direction if you're looking at a 1911. If you can afford a Wilson's, great. If not, look at a Colt. Look at a Springfield Armory. Something in those flavors. Beyond that, as far as a favorite long gun, it would have to be an M4.
Yeah,
it would just have to be. I've got so much time on it. I know the gun so well inside and out. It would have to be an M4 platform.
Is it what's your favorite variation of the M4?
I'm big fan of the 416, obviously.
Yeah, right.
But I've been running BCM for years.
Yes.
And I'm personal friends with the owner at BCM, Paul Buffoni. So they're my go-to brand.
Yeah.
That being said, there are tons of good AR makers out there.
Oh yeah,
tons. Yeah, Colt, of course, the original. There's tons of good AR make. Daniel Defense builds a good gun.
Yep.
BCM happens to be my top choice for a variety of reasons, but if you do your research, you can find plenty of AR platforms that'll answer the mail for you.
Over the last decades, you've definitely seen the variant from poorly made to very well made shrink. I think
Oh, I agree.
I remember. I mean, Palmetto State Armory when I worked there, 2013, almost 10 years ago. People, they were using an FN barrel. They were doing things that other bargain manufacturers weren't, and they were still getting accused of, if it's cheap, it means it can't be good. But now you're seeing, I mean, the reality is there's still going to be some budget brands that you're not going to be, but it's shrinking significantly. And I think because of the competition, because of the level of knowledge out there is shrinking, and I think that's where you still have the issues on the AK, because there's not 50 solid companies doing it. Yeah. So
well said.
Yeah, and I think we're getting there though. I think over time, I think it's going to take a little longer, but I think we're slowly but surely becoming much more proficient in the design and the consistent manufacturing of an American-made AK, which I think is needed as obviously political issues make it harder and harder to obtain and import.
That's one of the great illusions and one of the great misunderstandings in the firearms industry is everybody thinks the AK is a cheap, crude gun that's easy to make, and that nothing could be farther from the truth.
Right.
The gun is actually, there's a lot of sophisticated engineering in it. The Soviets put a ton of money, a ton of people in that thing to get it perfected, and not just anybody can make them and make a good quality gun. That is a gun that has a lot more engineering and a lot more refinement in it than people expect. People understand.
Well, there's a reason why you can buy build kits for AR-15s like there's no tomorrow. I mean, these guns are easy to put together.
They're Legos.
Yeah, they are. Yes. Yeah, tactical Legos. How many people though have you known that actually built an AK from a stripped receiver?
Right.
That gets complicated.
It is.
It gets complicated.
There's people can do it, but nothing like people who can plug together an AR.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And there's a reason the platform's still being utilized.
Yes.
If you look, obviously, what's currently going on overseas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of them are rust buckets, but they're still issuing AKs.
Yeah, they're also still issuing Mosins depending on what side you're on. So.
Could you imagine you're in line, there's 6 guys in line, guy in front of you gets an AK, guy next to you gets an AK, guy, and then they hand you a Mosin, and you're like, I think there's been a mistake.
It's like, no, you're a sniper now.
Yeah.
Exactly. We got a problem.
Yeah,
I was doing
like,
IT yesterday, and now I'm a sniper.
Well, you know what? That's actually an improvement over Stalingrad. At least everybody's getting a gun. Maybe not just one guy getting a clip of ammo, and then and then here's your rifle, and
That's
when
a
that
great
guy
point.
drops, so enemy at the gates that stuff up, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Jeez.
Yeah. So hey, I guess improvements over that. Yay, communism. But
Changing subject.
Yeah.
Before we go, I wanted to ask. So we talked about obviously what you've been going through for the last year.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Oh, feeling great. Feeling great. It was follicular lymphoma.
Yes, sir.
In which, I hate to say it, but if you can pick a cancer to have, it's a good one to have because it's very treatable. Long-term prognosis is good. But it's going great. Had my stem cell transplant a year ago, July. Everything else is on track. So I can't complain. It couldn't really be better right now. It's in remission, and right now, knock on wood, it's under control.
yeah, that's good. And I actually remember a video that I watched of you a while ago, and I thought, this is a weird video. Like, why would you have to address this? And I remember it was about health, and it was like, why I'm fat, that video.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why? And then, and I saw, I watched that video, and you said that you sustained some injury from your service.
Mm-hmm.
And one comment that stood out to me that I thought was really cool of somebody to say is like, hey, the opinions of sheep don't matter to a lion, And I saw that, and I was
pretty
like,
funny.
yeah, I was like, dude, that's pretty awesome, man. And I'm glad to see though that you're looking good. You're here with us today and everything, and and I'm happy for you.
Well,
Yeah.
It's a cancer-driven weight loss program. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it. But the good news is I've been able to sustain my weight since, coming off the cancer treatment.
Right.
So that's the good news.
Now getting out and getting back active and everything. You've already talked about you want to be at SHOT 2023, which we're planning on being there. I'm sure we'll see you there, Adam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we'll be excited to do that. Now, are you looking at hosting any more training events or anything?
I'd love to. If I do any, it'll probably have to be local here to the Charlotte area.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with family stuff right now, and the wife kind of read me the right act after cancer.
Yeah.
Hey, you've traveled enough for a long time. Travel basically
4 lifetimes kind of thing like that.
Exactly. You need to slow down and focus on family.
Yeah.
And which I get. I understand that.
Absolutely.
That being
Yeah, that makes
said,
sense.
though, man, it's killing me. I want to get out in the industry like Adam was talking about. There's nothing like in the industry. I know a million people, and just going and talking guns. I'm, obviously incredibly passionate about it. So
If you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCWSafe, Self-Defense Legal Services Membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members, unlimited defense budgets, unmatched legal expertise. Carry the same level of support police officers have. Carry CCWSafe, the highest caliber.
I'm going to try to work it out where I'm still doing some classes, but that remains to be seen.
So
All
if
right,
somebody
well-
does see a class,
Yeah.
if they do see you open it up, get on it because
Yeah, better sign up because there may not be many.
Yeah. Well,
Right now, I have none planned.
Yeah. That's all right. Well, just let us know. I mean, of course, I think we're all friends with our, Stoney and, down at Take Aim.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they're not too far either, and we've got a great relationship with them. And, and Charlotte Douglas International Airport's not too far from that. On top of that, there's plenty of places to stay. So if anybody's listening to this and think, oh man, I can get a Vickers class in, it's like, hey, just saying, there's some potential.
Yeah.
And that
Cross your fingers.
Yeah, and I think that would be awesome. And you're right though, dude, because we make friends in this industry, and we got together for Clint Smith at the Thunder Ranch shoot, and we flew a winner of one of our giveaways with the Thunder Ranch Vishka out there, ran the heck out of it. How many rounds did we go through again?
6,000.
6,000.
6,000 rounds.
6,000 rounds to 7 guns, something like that. And and they worked flawlessly, and we were able to engage targets out to 300 yards with iron sights and everything else, man. And it was a good time. But you get to see these people in the industry that you're friends with, and we were just down at in Missouri for CMMG celebrating their 20th anniversary. And again, you just run into these people like Jared with Guns and Gadgets, fantastic YouTube channel, keeping us all up to date on the Second Amendment and everything.
Solid plug.
Yeah.
Solid plug. He owes you one now.
Yeah, I know he does, I just got to keep that in there, He's approaching 600,000, by the way. So if he hasn't already hit that, so you guys go hit him up. But anyway, no, we'd love to see you back out on the scene and
If everything goes right, I'll be at SHOT.
Yeah.
Cross your fingers. I skipped last year because of COVID.
Sure.
And I was coming off my stem cell transplant, and it just wasn't worth the risk.
No.
And I talked to some different people in the industry, like my good friend Ashley Burnset at Blue Force Gear.
Yeah.
You know, we have our signature sling together.
Yep.
And he's like, dude, there's no way I wouldn't come within 100 miles
Yeah.
of SHOT Show. Like Adam was saying, everybody comes away with the SHOT Show crud.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be lethal in my case. Now, I'm a year down the road, almost a year down the road, so it's a totally different story now. And if everything goes right, cross your fingers, I'll be there. If I'm there, feel free to come up and say hi, and we'll talk guns.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And by the way, that the Blue Force Gear Vickers sling, the combat sling, you know, of course, that's what I'm issued in the Marines, and I love that sling. You did a good job on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a home run for us. I tell people on a scale
been going
1
for a
to-
while.
It has been.
Yeah.
So on a scale 1 to 10, it was a 15.
Yeah. So actually, if I can,
stars aligned on that.
yeah, if I can ask you though, like, so obviously you've got just a tad bit of experience. What led you to design that sling the way in which you did?
Well, I had used a different sling for a number of years that was quick adjustable for length, and I found out how usable it was. The problem is that sling needed to be updated. It needed a facelift. It needed to be brought up to date. And then I ran into Ashley Burnset at a class, and I saw he had a company called Blue Force Gear that made slings. And he made a 3-point sling, a single point, and whatnot, and one sling that was real modular and all that. But he didn't have a good quick adjust 2-point sling. And he knew I was a fan of him. So we got talking, and I was super impressed with the quality. Still am. Blue Force Gear makes fantastic quality stuff. So we got to talking, and he came up with the slider. I remember he sent me a prototype, and I said, I don't know. I think we still need to tweak it. And then he sent me another one, which he now has framed hanging in his office. And as soon as I got it, I opened up the box, and I called him, and I said, this is it.
Yeah.
And I knew right then. And it was like the Post-it note is what I tell people. There's no way to improve the Post-it note because it is what it is. It's everything it needs to be and nothing it doesn't. And that's the same thing with the sling.
Yeah.
It's everything it needs to be and nothing it doesn't. And it's basically stayed the same. You know, initially it had machined aluminum hardware, which now they offer as a limited option on occasions with special runs.
Yes.
Normal hardware now is molded plastic.
Yep.
And
it's
available
solid.
in a variety. Yeah, very solid.
Yeah.
Available in a variety of colors, padded, non-padded.
Yep.
They have several different flavors of them. They have a thin one now if you want something real light, say for one of these AP5 variants. So, real happy with that setup.
Yeah,
real happy.
No, yeah, like I said, it's funny, you know, so I'm in the Marine Reserves, and we just got done shooting our rifle qualification in August, and it's like, you know, a couple of these guys are getting your sling and all, and, you know, obviously I shoot for a living and run the sling, run multiple different slings, run different types of firearms, and these guys are getting it, and it's like, I don't understand why it adjusts and all that, and I'm like, go from the standing to the prone really quick, and you're trying to get a shot off accurately at 500 yards, and you'll understand why it adjusts. You'll also understand it adjusts too, so that way you can get maybe hands-on and you don't have to worry about your rifle just going all over the freaking place. How about that, guys? Come on now, use your head, right? And so, you know, finally we're utilizing what's called the annual rifle qualification, that's what the Marines are shooting on now, and I think it's actually a much more practical, and I like it. I like it a lot. It's a little bit more challenging in a sense, and I think it's, again, a lot more practical. And your sling definitely came into use there. I use the heck out of that, manipulating that and making sure my guys are also sized up right.
Yes,
you know?
that's critical. And you can if you set it up right, you can use it as a cinch sling too.
Yep.
Which I think they teach you guys that, don't they?
So they teach us with like an old 2-point parade sling. You know, at least when I went through, still M16s, A4s, of course, and I went through without an ACOG. I did shoot on iron sights. Just want to throw that out there. And but no, it was just, you did the I forgot what they call it now, the cinch loop though, whatever. You pop it off, you tighten that on your arm. You know, you're standing there and you've got a real tight grip, and if you do it incorrectly, you start to lose, you know, feeling in your arm. It's a good time.
Your hand goes numb. And you're like,
yeah. It's like, why can't I hit the target? It's like, well, your front sight's doing that. So
dancing around.
Right, but anyway, no, big fan of the sling. And are there any other projects you're working on right now? You just
books. We got an HK book coming out in the Vickers Guide series. James Williamson, a good friend of ours, helped with it. So that's going to be out. They're shipping right now. They're shipping from overseas right now, I should say. And they should be out, I want to say, early November they'll be shipping.
How many books have you come out with now?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think now we're at 9 or 10.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I would have to think through the number, but some of them have been reprints, but then others have been like our 1911 book. We greatly expanded it and made it 2 volumes.
Right. I was gonna say I know a couple of them are volume 1 and volume 2.
Volume 2, yeah. The 1911 one came out and it greatly expanded, and we busted it into 2 volumes. That's a good example of one. I think 9 or 10. I think the HK one might be pushing us to 10.
Wow.
We're doing real well. That's a killer book. It's handguns.
Yeah, okay.
It's handguns. We're planning 2 more to cover long guns and then also machine guns and special purpose weapons. We're planning 2 more volumes.
That'd be cool. Actually, you know what? I want to get your opinion on this because obviously SIG right now is dominating military contracts.
Yes.
Right. How do you feel about the NGSW program? They've got the 6.8 cartridge. This battle rifle that they've come out. They got the Spear LT now that they just recently announced. What are your thoughts about all that and the possibility of the Spear LT actually replacing the M4?
Yeah.
Man, until I see it.
Yeah,
I tell people that gun has been around for so long. It's so refined.
Yep.
Now, the ergonomics are superb. They're the gold standard for ergonomics. I don't know. Until I see the M4 honest to God replaced, I'll believe it when I see it.
Right, and that's pretty much how I feel too, because I'm thinking too just financial. I mean, the Spear LTs aren't going to be cheap.
No.
But at the same time, I mean, you helped develop the HK416, which utilizes a short stroke piston driven system. And so does the Spear LT, or just the Spear in general. It's based all off of the SIG MCX that we all know, like, and all that type
Which
of
is
stuff.
based off the AR-18.
Yes. Yeah. It all comes down to Stoner. Stoner did it right multiple times, and I just always think that's kind of funny. I think we've all seen that meme, it's like, Eugene Stoner was responsible for all this, always has been type of thing, and that includes DI guns or, people like to argue all the time. Is the AR-15 a DI gun, or is it a, what do they call it, a gas gun of?
I call it DI.
Yeah.
But it has a piston. The bolt is a piston.
That's right. The bolt does act as a piston.
Yeah, I still call it a DI gun, just to delineate it from a conventional piston gun, where the piston is, external. Mm-hmm. It's not inside the bolt carrier.
That's
so
right.
to speak. So
but the premise is still the same.
It's a piston gun. A lot of people didn't know that. But when you hear it, it makes sense. It's got gas rings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a piston-driven gun, but I still call it a DI gun.
Yeah.
Direct impingement.
Yeah, I think it's funny because people nitpick and argue. Oh, my God. All the time.
People in our industry arguing about guns?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just don't believe it.
Oh, right? Yeah, how about that? Oh, my goodness. But no, I mean, the 6.8 I think is a pretty neat thing. Have you had any experience or seen anything about it? Or
we went up to take pictures at SIG.
Yeah.
We brought out SIG Volume 1, which was basically a handgun book with a little bit of subgun stuff in it.
Yep.
And we took pictures of the long guns, and I was able to handle it. It was not able to shoot it.
Yeah.
And this is some of the earlier prototype stuff.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get back up there and get some more pictures of the stuff that's more finalized now, stuff that, that's a little bit farther down the food chain.
Yeah.
But I got to handle it, did not get to shoot it.
We were up there a couple of weeks ago for the ADSS, which is a Adaptive Defensive Shooting Symposium for individuals that have physical disabilities. Cool. And the SIG Academy was kind enough to put it on at their facility.
That's wonderful.
Neat. And Canik sponsors it. And Sam, who's the marketing director over at SIG, gave me a tour of the new SIG Experience facility. That includes even their museum with all the iterations they've had in the military competition. It's impressive. Yeah. I mean, it is. You can tell they've put some of their government funds to good use to make sure their facility is very nice. But I can't be mad at them. But it is beyond impressive.
I think we need to take like a field trip. I'm just saying, go up there, get a couple guys out there, see what that SIG experience is all about, because I think that'd be pretty fun, But yeah, cool. Now, how about your thoughts on M17, M18 replacing the M9? I know you've got some experience with the M9 for sure.
Well, it was a matter of time.
Yeah,
it was a matter of time. The couple of different things. A little bit slimmer gun than the M9. A lot of people, if you deal with different people, one of the factors that come into play is how big the grip is. Yeah. The circumference. And then double action versus single action. Mm-hmm. So it was just a matter of time before a polymer framed striker fired pistol was the new service handgun. I mean, there's just no way around it.
Yeah, and so from my understanding is it was a DoD requirement to be modular, right? I mean, did Glock just like say, hey, here's a Glock, that's all you need? Because it didn't seem like they did anything that was going to offer any type of modularity.
They made it brown.
Yeah, they did make it brown.
They made it brown. Oh, that's a big deal in Glock world.
And it has a ambi slide release, right? So
right,
yeah. So
you know, the only thing I can think of on that is kind of what they did for, I think, is it DHS, where they did the Glock 48 and all that kind of stuff, and you can do a plug and play, a mix and match. I think you can match slides.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a little more modular, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm thinking. But, you know, that came out, as best I know, after the Glock submission to the military. So I'm with you. I don't know that the modularity piece, I think they just kind of looked at it, hey, you have the ability to swap out back straps. That's what we're going to call modularity.
Oh, well.
Well, I mean, that bid started, what, like 6-7 years ago?
Quite a while ago.
Maybe even longer than that, to be honest with you, because, I mean, it's been in place now for, what, 3 years?
Something like that, yeah.
3, 4? I mean, so you think about this was that. I mean, those RFQs, those are that's not a short process. Those are years and years to get it in. So
big time.
Yeah. So I mean, if that's the case, then that's the conversation you're having, which is also impressive. You got to give props to SIG on having that ready 5-6 years ago.
Oh yeah, they jumped through hoops. I knew they burnt the midnight oil to get that gun ready for submission.
Right.
Price very aggressively, big time to the military. So yeah, I mean, SIG's on their A game for sure. They're the ones that everybody's chasing.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Now with that though, I kind of want to talk a little bit about some other pistols, because a huge mover that we have right now is Canik. And dude, you guys, all right, so you and I have talked. I don't know what you're at liberty to talk about, but you have some cool Canik things coming up.
Absolutely.
So first of all, out of the box performance for a pistol at the price point that is at is some of the hardest to beat. I mean, first of all, the trigger is phenomenal. The accuracy, it runs great. Recoil, the looks, the design and ergonomics, the guns run, dude. And I mean, we have shot the ever-living crap out of some of these guns. And Larry, do you have experience with the Canik line and everything? I mean, dude, I haven't had any issues with it. I mean, Katie at the range, it's the rival that you're.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you shoot the heck out of that thing.
Oh, I shoot all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
we should get you a holster.
Yeah.
Man, it's almost like I asked for that a long time ago.
She wanted a drop leg holster. We have them overseas for our military contracts, and we got her one. It's sitting on my desk. I forgot. Yeah.
Well, you know, you got an excuse because you don't get back to your desk that often.
That is fair. Yeah, I didn't even know I still had a desk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Canik has been something that has been such a wonderful experience to be a part of. To be frank, it was a huge part of the reason why I was so excited to come work for Century and Canik. Like I said, the numbers have grown exponentially. I mean, 10x since I started. We have definitely become a major force in the handgun community in the United States, and I think a lot of that is attributed to exactly what you just said. You know, there are. Obviously, I have no qualms. I'm a gun guy. I have no qualms talking about the fantastic options of other guns. I mean, I've given props to Wilson and, you know, Springfield, Staccato.
Yeah.
I mean, SIG. We're talking about all the. But I think one of the things that sets Canik apart is, like you said, there are a lot of great guns out there, but you pay for what you get a lot of times, you know. And the fact that you are able to get what you get at such an aggressive price point. For instance, the Rival is $679, and you're getting a competition grade pistol with
out of the box
with it's essentially a $300 aftermarket trigger with a 90-degree aluminum brake trigger. You know, mag wells, competition holster, extra mags, aluminum base plates, all these things that are $20 here, $50 there, $200 there. You know. For $679 MSRP, so you're even seeing them out there at $629, $599, is something that really speaks volumes. And it put against every other gun that came out in 2021 or 2022, it just won Industry Choice Awards 2022 Gun of the Year.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
And I've got some pretty good. I can't say what because, you know, they'd kill me, but it actually just won 2 more awards as well for Guns of the Year for some other individuals, some governing bodies that are pretty excited about it. And then with that, we said, we know we need to continue to come out and push the envelope. So we've got a couple more guns that are going to be coming out within the next 6 months. One that'll be out before the end of the year.
Okay.
That's going to be, let's just put, we're putting the metal to the fire kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay. You see what I'm saying?
Metal to the fire.
Metal to the fire on that.
You know what?
kind of thing.
Just hand it to Larry real quick so he can throw it on his Instagram.
Exactly. Yeah. Touche. And then we got another one that's going to be very exciting that's coming out at SHOT Show. But we're keeping that one our pretty little secret. So a couple hints there. But what we're most excited about is the fact that people have truly embraced the Canik as a acceptable, pistol, not only for, like you said, the fun times at the range, but it's something they can depend their life on if they absolutely needed to. I carry a Canik, and I think even bigger testament than me carrying a Canik is this something I can say is my mom carries a Canik.
Oh yeah,
and I got my mom a Canik, and that was something. Of course, I'm a company man. If I'm out there walking around with a Glock, it kind of doesn't look the greatest.
Sure,
right, yeah.
But and I'm okay saying that. And we can all say that,
Right.
But when I bought my mom one and gave it to my mom, I think that speaks volumes of.
Oh, yeah.
There's no pride there. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, I want my mom to point it and go boom.
I want my significant other. I want my best friend or whatever it is. Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, you can hand me just about anything. I'll make it work, right? But I want the people that I care about
to have the best.
The best, right? For what they can afford or whatever else it might be. And no, you're absolutely right. That speaks volumes.
And Canik, the trigger is the biggest thing. I think that's so impressive about it.
It's fantastic.
The pull, the reset, people pull, and that's what we're doing. We're doing right now. We're committed to being out on the road as much as possible and letting people pull the trigger on. It's like the Coke to Pepsi test. Taste it, try it, pull the trigger on it, dry fire it at your local gun store. Feel the trigger on it, and then tell me it's not worth what it is, and it's not something that is truly a different level. And I mean, even the barrel, we have a lifetime or a 50,000 round warranty on the barrel alone. What handgun says that? 50,000 round warranty on the barrel. It's just incredible. Yeah. So, I mean, now if something blows up in the barrel, we're going to have a conversation with you.
Sure,
But, I mean, if you're just a normal wear and tear, 50,000 rounds. Yeah. And let's be honest, we're not out there counting it. So if you call us and say, hey, this barrel's starting to wear down, we're gonna take care of you.
Right.
But yeah, so it's been a great opportunity to be involved in it. It's been a great opportunity to continue to grow. And now the biggest thing is we have officially broken ground. It's being built. We're building a Canik facility to manufacture our guns in the U.S. in West Palm Beach, Florida, right now. So not only is that going to be, more controlling our own destiny in the United States, but it's 100+ jobs for 2A supporting Americans, and we're excited about that, and it truly being something that we can embrace not only as a quality pistol, but an American-made quality pistol. That's
cool. So Larry, are you down to take a road trip and go tour the facility when it's up?
I'd love to.
Yeah, come on. It's sunny South Florida. I know that's gonna be a tough.
It's terrible.
Maybe you can bring the wife, and she won't be quite as hard on you about getting out of the road. Yeah. So.
We'll turn it into a vacation.
There you go.
See, if you can turn your work trips into vacations, that's where it's at.
It's always a win.
Yeah. Ken Hackathorn had a great line about the Canik. He got one and was shooting it and letting people shoot it. And he said, at the aggressive price point, this gun is the gold standard.
Wow.
That's
cool.
I mean,
coming from him, too. That's
when you're talking about aggressive price point. Yeah. It's a gold standard. And we all understand, that the market has to accommodate everybody with every budget.
Yeah.
Not everybody can afford a $4,000 Wilson Combat, and you have to accommodate the entire market, but still give them a quality product that they can depend on.
Well,
Canik is the gun that really defines that.
Yeah, and I mean, and you guys are doing a good job with that because not everybody can afford an HK, but you get something that's literally made on pretty much the same stuff, and it runs.
Yeah,
it runs. Oh my God, the AP5 does magic stuff. And you mentioned something earlier too. I think I want to kind of just put out there and just let people know. You're talking about bringing jobs to the market. I think of course there's a lot of politics happening right now, even around these things called braces and stuff like that. And I'm glad to see that you guys aren't shying away from that. You're like, guess what? They're still here. So we're gonna if you want a gun, if you want an AP5 with a brace, we're gonna have that option for you. So I think first of all, that's awesome. Thank you for supporting America and the Second Amendment, but also. I think what a lot of politicians and a lot of people don't understand is how big this industry is. Some towns are their whole livelihood is based off of the manufacturing that they have there. You know, we were just in, like I said, in Missouri with CMMG in Booneville, Missouri. That's what they're known for, is CMMG. And during COVID and during all the shutdowns and everything, they supported 10 other businesses and they did all sorts of neat things because obviously the gun market did fine. And they went out and supported all of these local businesses. And was it the governor there that said every business is an essential business? And said nobody's shutting down, right?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I thought, dude, that's pretty cool. And a lot of that, and they're friends with CMMG type of stuff, you know. And I'm just thinking, dude, the gun industry, like we've partnered with Fort Scott Munitions out of Fort Scott, and again, the whole town knows that they have a training facility up there, that knows that they make ammunition, knows that they bring in all sorts of special operations and law enforcement to train up there, and they're all in on it. Well, you know?
We went out in the dark in a neighborhood. And they're like, oh, it's totally fine. We already called all the neighbors. They know what's going on.
Yeah, the local law enforcement knows what's up. Yep. And they typically do trainings there for special operations and say, hey, if you get caught, you have to get from point A to point B, and your objective is this, right? If a dog barks at you as you're going through somebody's backyard and they call the police, they're like, okay, cool, so-and-so has been found that you fail.
Yeah.
Like the whole community's in on it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's freaking
That is cool.
Cool.
We have, our manufacturing and logistics facility for Century Arms is based right outside of Burlington, Vermont.
Yeah.
And speak candidly, Burlington is a very liberal community.
Yeah.
But you get right outside the city, and you see a very different political viewpoint on a majority of the individuals. And that facility has been there for decades now. And, we employ 200 individuals just at that facility alone. And they handle everything from building our American-made AKs to importing AP5s to ensuring that all the canics that come in from Turkey right now make it all across the country. Larry, you've actually been there. And it's one of those communities that, like you said, when COVID hit, we applied and were deemed an essential business, and we're able to keep the lights on at 9 other companies just in Vermont and New York alone that were utilized in support of our infrastructure. And I mean, it's a tough community up there. I mean, it really is. It's a tough people with grit, people with passion, and we're so honored to be a part of it. And even with the flack that a lot of people, they don't like that as a gun manufacturer there in the more liberal parts of town. Right. They still can't argue the fact that we're putting food on people's table, and that the people are passionate. And that's a tough community in the winter. Larry, I remember we were there and we were sitting at breakfast, and Larry said, and it was cold. Yeah. And Larry said, the last time I was here though, I hated it. And he said, I hate Vermont. And you were at Mount Helen?
Mount Washington.
Mount Washington, yeah.
Mount Washington.
He said, tell the story.
We got out of the tent, me and a friend of mine.
They were on training, Delta Force
training, and it was 50 below. We didn't know it at the time. And he had any exposed skin, it felt like it was being burned because of the cold. And we found out later when we got down off the mountain, it was 50 below. And it was extremely cold.
Didn't you say your guns were like locking up and stuff like that?
You had to make sure that you had every single component, every single spring, everything lubed. Everything had to have a lube that would work in cold.
Right.
Because if you didn't,
it'd just gum up or freeze.
It would be frozen.
Yeah.
Lord help you if it rained or anything like that, or you were sweating on it.
Oh yeah, you're done.
And then it froze overnight because whatever you had, I mean, if the selector was unsafe or whatever, then you weren't moving it. It was frozen. It was a real wake up call. It's also why you don't see a lot of combat in extreme winter conditions.
Nobody wants to fight in that.
No.
You're just throwing things at each other at that point.
Right.
If you can even move your arm that much.
You're just at that point, you're just throwing insults,
That's right.
Hey, screw you, dude.
Yeah. My tent's warmer than your tent. Yeah. I mean, we were sitting, I'll never forget that he said, we're sitting at breakfast, he said, God, I hate this state. And I was like, well, what did it do? He's like, oh, no. I just always think about that time on the
Mount
mountain.
Washington.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is something that we take a lot of pride in, and working with individuals like Larry and, Clint, these guys that are, they were hardened through fires of war and the fires of having a passion for the freedom of this country, has helped us create. We actually have Century Salutes now, which is an organization that we created that goes out and finds charitable organizations that are giving back to the veteran community.
Cool.
And we do quarterly and biannually partnerships with them to then be able to donate. We just did one with a company an organization called Josh's House. Okay. And it was it's a house that they're building across the country. They're starting in Vermont. that is open 24/7, 365, and it's everything from a gym to a kitchen to video games to pool to a computer room, and it's veterans can come in, and it's basically, without sounding cheesy, a safe space where they can come in, they can talk shit, they can say whatever they want. They, all different branches of, and they basically have that sense of camaraderie that they lose once they get out of the military.
That's big.
And it was all stemmed from a gentleman named Josh Pilata. His mother started it after he just took his life, struggling from PTSD. And he actually had worked at Century Arms for a little while too.
Wow.
And so we started it, and we did a AK, a veteran AK. Classic actually carried some of it, and it had the veteran insignia.
Yep.
And we donated a portion of all of the everyone sold. And we donated $20,000 to them to help them just have funds to. And they do everything from acupuncture in there to massage to anything that they can do that they think will help heal the internal pains of, or at least ease them. Is something, and it's been a really cool opportunity. We're about to team with Battle Buddy, the 3-gun.
Oh yeah, no,
we're gonna be working with them.
Man, I feel so bad. I got to get back.
We're gonna do some stuff. Frankie, we're gonna do some stuff with them.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the next one we're gonna do.
Well, let us know, dude. We'll partner up, man.
Yeah,
we'll partner up on stuff like that because, first of all, that's something that I'm huge on, right? I mean, the mental health of our veterans and everything else like that. That's something that unfortunately gets kind of looked over sometimes because a lot of people say like, you don't have any physical scars, you're fine. And that's not the case. I know too many guys that didn't have physical scars that aren't here now.
There's amazing individuals that we just Neil. Neil's he owner of Ready Gunner. There we go. And was an amazing human being, amazing wife, beautiful children. Had a great business. We worked with him a lot on some stuff, and he lost his struggle, and it's tough. And there's been a lot of individuals that have gone down recently, and we've even lost people to ailments. That's what I'm going to say. Love him or hate him, I loved him. Jaeger. It was really tough to see him go, but he went out on his terms. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's one thing the gun community tries to do, is we try to honor those that are no longer with us, and honor those.
Agreed.
And I'm just so proud to be able to sit here with you. I was worried about you, brother. I really was, Larry. I was worried about you, and I know the fight's not done yet, but to say, I love to see that the warrior mentality that you took to your entire career, both in the service and then out of it, the way you have always held your students to that no nonsense, that you backed up by truly approaching this that way, and watching you just walk around the warehouse today like it was. Other than, just life beating you up in Mount Washington, you're still moving around as spry as ever, brother.
And getting excited about a gun here or there, I know you've seen a lot, but it's always pretty cool whenever you pick up something.
He's drooling over a Mosin,
or something like that, So that is super cool. But anyway, I think we've hit a lot of cool topics today. Adam, it's always a pleasure, man.
Honestly,
love getting you in here. And it's always good seeing you at the different shows, hanging out, going out, getting together, doing stupid stuff, doing hood rat stuff with my friends.
Watching you run away from me while
I'm
doing interviews.
Yeah,
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
Well,
keep up, little legs.
Yeah, I know. One step of his is like 20 a year.
You know how many people afterward were like, I can't believe you were such a jerk and did that. I was like, no, it was planned. Calm down. It's okay.
Yeah. That's
before we leave, I got to ask you some questions now. So in case people are watching, the whole AP5 series, do you guys, does Classic carry those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have
all three different flavors.
Yep.
And different sets up of it as well.
Yes.
So optics ones, braced ones, all kinds of things. That was one of the reasons we were so excited to have you in here, to give the validity to the product, other than just us carrying it to make money.
Sure. Yeah. And then also the Canic stuff. You guys all carry that?
Canic is. I think Canic is our #1 seller of pistol. I think. And correct me if I'm wrong. As far as importation goes, y'all are bringing in more than
a lot. We're bringing in a lot.
A whole lot of guns.
And it's like I said, it's growing. We have been fortunate enough to move up the ranks in terms of the number and where we are. We're playing with the big boys now. And it's been a blessing.
That's freaking cool.
I just want to let you know that so every time we go out to the range, I carry the Canic on my hip. You would be surprised how many people from like other manufacturers, like these big expensive manufacturers, like, what do you have? I was like, it's Canic Rival, and I handed it to them. They're like, you're gonna let me shoot it? I was like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you shoot it. And they're like, oh my god.
Yeah, like this is
solid. Like they'll
look
around and they're like, make sure nobody's filming, and I'll shoot it. Like, you got another mag? I just go through like 3 mags and then be like, that's like, a Canik? I'm like, yes.
Do you have another one of those in the warehouse? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, wait, what's y'all's price point?
Industry discount on it?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Dude, it happens all the time, man. It really does, and it's a great pistol. The rival, you got the TP9 series, of course, the SFX. Heck, we've had employees carry the SC, stuff like that. So, they're just great guns.
Larry, what is your YouTube channel?
Vickers Tactical.
Vickers Tactical.
That's same as your Instagram, correct?
Yep, same as my Instagram.
Yeah, I know his Instagram well.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? My Facebook got shut down.
I was going to say.
Yeah, hey, been there.
Did you guys get shut down
so
too?
we had a group.
Mine just got frozen. They didn't, it's still there, but it got frozen, and I can't update to it anymore.
Jeez.
That's a passive-aggressive shutdown,
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. I knew that's what it was.
Yeah, we had the Classic Firearms Buyers Group, which was actually a private group that got a little rowdy in there, and it was at one point I think we had over 20,000 group members, and you had to be a customer of Classic Firearms, and you had and it was like I said, it was a private group. And you had a couple of questions you had to answer before you get in there, and we kind of let it just kind of play off on its own. We didn't do a whole lot of heavy moderating, and we definitely should have. Maybe the group would still be around. I don't know, but let's just say it got rowdy and was shut down. And it was like we woke up one night or one morning, and it was just like, "Yep, the buyers group's gone." And we all kind of looked at each other like, "That makes sense."
Yeah, mine's still there. So if you look it up, you'll find it. But it has not been updated in months. I try to update it. I've tried many times. I've reached out to Facebook to get some help, and nothing's. So it's basically in limbo. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get it up and running again. Now, fortunately, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I think Facebook's day is kind of over.
It's definitely a changing medium.
Yeah.
I think that's why
Instagram's where it's
Instagram's going, and Instagram, you're seeing what they're doing right now is. And all of us here, including you, Larry, we are walking a very fine line with social media.
Oh, yeah.
People always ask, why didn't you say the price? Why didn't you? You guys know why we didn't say the price.
Yeah.
Even on YouTube, we don't talk about you. You cannot perpetuate the sale of a gun.
Yeah.
Whether we want to or whether we agree with it or not, the rules are clear. And if we want to still be able to get this information out to the public, we have to play by those rules, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. Now, granted, there are other platforms that we could go to. Other people are talking about like Rumble and some other things, and there's like Truth Social or something like that.
But the lion's share of people are still on.
It's still on YouTube.
They're still on YouTube. They're still on Instagram.
Yeah, and so the biggest thing you could do is always just understand that if Century Arms is working with somebody and Classic Firearms is who we're talking to, there's always avenues. You know where to go if you need to find out more information. You know what I mean? And Larry, same with you guys. That's where it is. It's that simple. While it's a pain in the butt, and we're all we don't want to spend 30 more seconds than we have to. The reality is we all have to play by those rules so that we can still get you the information as easy as possible.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and even Larry, you were saying that you noticed even like in some of your growth, you noticed that it was getting pretty heavily throttled.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My Instagram too has been at 182,000 now for months.
Yeah.
It hadn't grown at all.
Yeah.
So it's been there for months.
Century and Canik we were averaging 50 to 60 followers added a day, and then all of a sudden it was 3.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they have those little shadow bands. Well, that's the way with Gun Owners of America. I couldn't find their page. I was literally looking for something. I finally added them to my favorites because they had them so shadow banned that even though I followed them, I couldn't see any.
Which
of
is
their
ironic
things.
because Gun Owners of America isn't selling actual guns.
No,
but
it's the information they put out.
The truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the information they're a pro gun, pro 2A advocacy group.
Yeah.
So of course,
it's just crazy.
So of course they're going to get a little bit of hate. But yeah, I try to tag them on different Instagram stories and stuff, and it says, hey, they've posted up false information before, fake news or something like that. It's like, are you sure you want to tag them? I'm like, get the heck out. Yes, of course I am. But anyway, but yeah, Vickers Tactical, Instagram and YouTube, and Facebook, and of course,
and then Vickers Guide.
Vickers Guide, yes.
Yeah, Vickers Guide for the books.
Yep, that's right. Yep, I'm actually pretty certain we've got a couple laying around, and then of course Canik, Century Arms.
Yep. So CanikUSA.com, CenturyArms.com, and then Canik USA as our social medias, and then Century Arms.
Yep. And you guys are over like Red Army Standard.
We have Red Army Standard, U.S. Palm.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. And speaking of U.S. Palm, Andrew's throwing us, give us a bag.
Yeah, I was hoping you would bring it to me.
Larry, you'll appreciate this. So we want to do something a little fun. I don't know how tactical it is, but yeah. So.
Oh, man. No, these are perfect for whenever you're out there, running your drills and everything. You're doing those quick mag changes and some high grass or something. You need something that you can actually find.
That's a good point. Look at you legitimizing a bright green magazine.
Dude, I mean, first of all, I have done that. Right? Orange. Oh, yeah. And it comes with, we haven't thought of a name for him just yet, but it comes with this little patch too. These are the Alien Green, exclusively sold through Classic. This is a pretty fun design, dude. So we partnered up with US Palm on this, and you guys sent us a couple of samples in, and we were like, dude, this is it.
It's been exciting.
Yeah, and people are already asking, because we did the AR one with Lancer. This is also our first run of the AK, and people are now like, so you're going to do a
Glock mag. I saw that. Yeah, I
So,
saw that.
you know else we could do, we could do an MP5 mag, an AP5 mag.
Hey, let me throw something out, a little safety thing that I'm a big fan of. High visibility followers.
Right.
I'm a big fan of them. I don't know if you guys.
It has a black
one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the bright orange, the bright red, the bright yellow, whatever. So when you see the mag on a table or you see it on the ground and you see that high visibility, you can tell the mag's empty.
Right.
Big fan of that.
Especially in the heat of thing or whatever.
Right, on the range.
There's no question.
And you can just tell at a glance, hey, the mag's empty. I've had other people say, well, yeah, they get dirtier. But yeah, they do get dirty, but there's still some... black one, you're not going to be, it's black.
Yeah.
But you're still going to have some high visibility you can see, even if they get dirty from running them suppressed.
That's a great
So
point.
I'm a fan of that. Now, I know I'm sure you guys got 1 million black followers, but.
No, and so the black follower works well in this because it is so bright. It is the contrast there.
Right.
But that's a great point on black mags, things like that.
Black mags. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of one of my things that I try to throw out there not everybody does it.
Right.
Some gun companies do it. And I think some gun companies do it kind of by accident. The other thing it does help is if you have pistol mags in the back, yours your round count holes,
right.
You can track.
Because it's so much easier to see it.
It's so much easier to see it through the holes.
That's a great point.
Yeah, that is interesting. But yeah, we're happy to have these mags. So they're a lot of fun, and apparently a lot of people enjoy them as well. So if they are still available, depending on when this comes out, pick yourself up some because they're not that expensive either, which is pretty nice, and they run very well. Like I said, that's actually all we ran at Thunder Ranch, right? Mm-hmm. Were the US Palm mags?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean we beat the crap out of them, man.
Yeah,
we beat the crap out of the guns, out of ourselves. I'm still not fully recovered, I don't think. But oh yeah, dude, yeah, my knees are still sore. But yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
And it's been a great time spending it with you today, Larry.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Great time talking
Katie.
guns, man. I love it.
Yeah. So we'll leave it off there, guys. Again, classicfirearms.com is where you can find everything that we've pretty much talked about today. Maybe not an HK416 per se, but almost everything. And so classicfirearms.com for that. Again, check out all the different variations of the AP5 that we currently have. Let us know down in the comments section, how are you going to configure yours? Because we talked about how Larry wants to configure his. You obviously see how I have mine configured. Actually, Adam, before we go, how do you have yours configured?
So I actually have a couple of them. One of them,
I have a couple of them.
Yeah. On my full size, I have the JMac.
Yes.
The JMac brace. And it's neat how they did it. There's actually the end cap is a pick rail. So the rear end cap pick rail. So it matches to that, which is a pretty cool little setup. I have the Magpul handguard on the front. I did the Magpul safety selector.
Yeah.
I'm running the basic pick rail on the top, and I think what optic do I have on? That's sad. You know how you switch them out.
Oh yes, I do.
I have the Hollison,
Okay,
tube
yeah.
on mine, so it's nice. It runs well. Like I said, it's just been. I'm still running the original trigger.
I got the binary in mine.
He's got the binary in
I had
his.
to.
So,
Yeah.
and that's the only thing. Do you? Last question. The triggers on an MP5 are always going to be a little mushy.
Yeah, it's always mil spec. Because that's something that people need to understand about HK is they always build their guns to pass drop tests. Always. There's certain protocols they do. They do bore obstruction protocols with all their firearms. They do drop tests with all their firearms. So that's why a lot of times you'll see their stuff's a little on the heavy side, maybe a little bit more grit or more engagement than you want. Okay. And it's basically due to they're building even their civilian guns to mil-spec standards.
Interesting.
So it's a drop test thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's really what it is.
So yes, I still have that, but I mean, with 15,000 rounds through it, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, right.
No. And yeah, that's mine's pretty basically set up, and I love it. I mean, it's my favorite gun in my bag. I mean, it's hands down.
Yeah, dude, they are a lot of fun. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. And again, Larry, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, hey, I had a great time, man. Yeah. Anytime.
Love talking guns, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not the worst.
Yeah, it's not the worst.
You can do it all day.
You can think of a worse job for sure, like you were saying.
Do it all day.
Adam, thanks again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in for another episode of the CF Podcast, and we'll see you next time.